Alright, what is up guys, it is Storm back here with another video, and in this one I am bringing you part 25 to Mightless, a My Hero Academia story by the Mysterious Banana. Now if you want to check this story out for yourself, the link to it will be down in the description below. But before the video begins, if you like the content you're seeing, then be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. I mean, they're all free, so why not? If you want some dope channel merch, the link to that will be down in the description below, and if you want to see more of me, be sure to go check out my other channels. Go follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, which will all be linked down below. But without further ado, why don't we just dive right on in. Back at the hideout, the young greenhead was staring at his computer screen, typing away like a salaryman working overtime. He rapidly ran through all of the heroes and was trying to prescribe a counter for each of them. The advantage they have in this is thanks to All For One, that can obtain almost any quirk necessary to deal with the heroes without losing any men. Although the reveal of the truth still boggled his mind, making it hard for him to came across the news that the hero headquarters had been raided. The sight of the headlines gave him a prideful report. 30 security killed, 75 injured. To top that, 4 heroes were murdered, and 1 gravely injured. "I must congratulate you, Girin," he said out loud. "You really know how to pick the creme de la creme within the crowd." The door swung open behind him as he turned around to see who it was. At the doorway stood Dabi, holding a piece of paper, with concern painted all over his face. "Something wrong, Dabi?" asked Izuku. "You should see this, now," replied the lanky man as he handed him the paper. Reading over the lines, concern drew over Izuku's face. "Assemble the League," he said in a serious tone. "Now." Down at the bar, the gang met up around the round table, with Kurogiri serving each of the members their favorite respective drink. Sake for Dabi, Blood Mary for Toga, cocktail for Magni, ginger ale for Spinner, whiskey for Mr. Compress, just water for Moonfish, milk for Mustard, vodka for Muscular, gin and tonic for Sachi, beer for Irina, tequila for Hounds, cola for Yong, cider for Jack, and a margarita for Izuku. I don't usually call the entire league to my meetings. I know some of you love to do their own thing, using the leave as just a rest stop. Muscular, Jack, and Moonfish. I'm looking at you three, while others, including myself, have a secret life to mask our villain alter egos, such as Mustard. But today is different. Dabi was able to intercept an anonymous letter. I thank him for that, because should this letter have gotten to its destination, it would mean the end of this league. Izuku started. The group chattered, some more concerned than others. "What could it be?" asked Toga. "Yeah, we can take them, whoever they are," Muscular cut in. Izuku unfolded the letter, reading it aloud. To Yuuei. "As we speak, there is a traitor among your ranks who has been leaking information to the outside. This traitor's name goes by Mightless, as you may know, and has been leaking information to the underworld. His true identity is Izuku Midoriya, and he's the leader of the League of Villains, who was behind both the USJ incident and the headquarters raid." The rest of the letter also revealed the quirks and appearance of each member and the location of the hideout. "Just to clarify, the only reason is why we're still here is thanks to Dabi. We got lucky, but there's no telling when another message could be sent," Izuku explained. "Who could be behind this?" asked Magni. "Isn't it obvious? Shigaraki," replied Mr. Compress. "Indeed. This is his handwriting," confirmed Kurogiri, reading the letter himself. "He must have thought that if he couldn't have the League, no one could, and planned to bring it down himself. So what do we do?" asked Sachi. "Ain't it obvious? We need to catch the traitor before he falls into the hands of the authorities. Should he get detained, he'll spill everything," answered Izuku. "But how will we track him down? And like last time, we don't nearly have enough men to do this job. No moves would only attract heroes, and we can't forget that he can kill any of us with just a touch," asked Irina. "Remember, we still have a lead. We may not be on good terms currently, but he's our only lead," said Izuku. Some people in the room, such as Spinner and Toga, shook with excitement. "You don't mean..." "Yes, Spinner. We must contact Stain." The news about the attack at the hero headquarters spread like wildfire. It seemed all through this year, the sports festival and its entirety was getting buried by much bigger incidents. First was Endeavor, confessing his crimes following by the raid on the headquarters. One may say that the heroes took 2 major blows that day. Articles such as, "Are heroes worth it?" and "Can they be trusted?" became hot topics online and on the news. People started to lose trust in the people they once admired, and from the amount of backlash generated from these recent incidents, It was rumored that Yuuei's student count dropped by 20%, but the biggest impact on society these attacks had was its spread to the underground. Ha, did you hear? Apparently Endeavor cried like a bitch during the sports festival. A random thug laughed at a random bar. I know, right? I always knew these heroes were pussies. Another one laughed back. At the corner of the bar, a lone hero killer sat silently, taking in all of this new information. Letting out an annoyed groan, he emptied an entire bottle of brandy in one gulp. Suddenly, a man adorned in a black coat, with a Kevlar vest with a skull that was a hole in the forehead, and wearing a red beanie and a face mask with the bottom jaw of a skeleton drawn on, approached the drinker. "I suppose you're Stain, the hero killer," said the man. "And what if I was?" asked Stain. "My name is Sachiko Sukuyama. I'm a representative of the League of Villains. Our boss, Mightless, would like to have a word with you," Sachi answered formally. Stain reached slowly for his knife. "And what if I don't cooperate?" he asked. "I beg your pardon?" Sachi asked politely, like how Kurogiri instructed him to. "You see, I have a certain grudge to settle with your boss. I won't give in to his demands so easily. So tell me, what are you gonna do if I refuse?" asked Stain. "I'm begging you, please just come with me quietly and no harm will be done," Sachi pleaded. Seeing how he had nothing better to do, he got off his seat, following Sachi outside, where Kurogiri pulled over in a limousine, opening the door for him. Stain cautiously entered, as next to him was a woman, black long hair wearing a long black dress. "Hello, Stain. My name is Irina von Tescalorius. I will be your escort," she replied. "If this is all a setup to make your organization look more professional than it is, cut it. I prefer my escorts weren't faking it. I despise fakes more than anything," Stain said aggressively. "How did you get your hands on this limousine anyway? Our many heists have put our budget in the millions. We have money to spare. Of course, it isn't all used on luxury items, but it's nice to enjoy ourselves. Won't you agree?" "Champagne?" Irina explained, offering him a glass, which he declined. As the car pulled over to the bar, Stain's suspicions were already confirmed, as the quality simply didn't add up. From a fancy limo to a rundown bar, Stain was already starting to lose his trust towards these guys. Entering the building, he was met with a cozy-looking bar, where at the table sat the boss of the establishment. "Hello, Stain. I've been expecting you," Izuku said in a calm and polite tone. Stain looked around. At the door entrance stood two giant beasts beyond his comprehension. Any other normal human beings were nowhere to be found. "I was expecting a bigger crowd," commented the hero killer. "Sorry about that. I would have brought out more people, but I wanted to discuss more personal subjects," Izuku replied. "But first, I'd like to ask you about the whereabouts of a former subordinate of mine, one that goes by the name of Tomura Shigaraki." Stain sat down in a chair next to him, surveying the room to make sure it wasn't a trap. For a brief moment, he could have sworn he saw a lizard slip by. Meanwhile, near the back room, Twice and Dobby had to put down Spinner, who was having a fanboygasm. "Let me go. I have to go see him, Stain. Please sign my autograph," Spinner yelled with a muffled scream, as the two villains had to hold his mouth shut so that Stain didn't hear. They had specific instructions to stay hidden, as their presence coupled with their unusual personalities would set off the serious mood Izuku had set up. It wasn't like he had it any easier either. He had to receive formality training from Kurogiri, and had been rehearsing for hours prior to the meeting. If you want to know where Shigaraki is, I can safely say that I'm not sure. He had just left yesterday. Although with his name now on the wanted list, I doubt he could have made that much distance by in one day, Stain answered. Izuku turned to Kurogiri. "Send in Nomus and place them on the outskirts of Hosu. Make sure Shigaraki doesn't escape the city," Izuku ordered. "Right away, young master," Kurogiri replied as he vanished into a portal. Turning back to Stain, he took a sip of his margarita, then cleared his throat with a formality that matched that of a gentleman. "Very well. While my underling takes care of Shigaraki, I would like to discuss something with you. Do you have the time for that, or does this meeting interfere with your agenda?" Izuku asked in a polite tone. "Drop the formality. It's not the number of sentences you can overcomplicate that makes you, not your organization, more professional looking," Stain ranted. "Fine. Straight to the point then. What is your view on the heroes of today's society?" asked Izuku. Stain's eyebrows raised in suspicion. "What does that have to do with anything?" asked Stain. As cautious as ever. Typical for someone like you. Fine, might as well spur to the main subject now more than ever. We would like you among our ranks, Stain, Izuku said. Stain sighed in disappointment. No deal, he said bluntly before getting up. However, the second he got up, the two beasts blocked the door in an aggressive manner. It's quite rude to deny someone's suggestion without a clear reason, Stain. Indulge me, why don't you want to join? Asked Izuku, with a dark, malicious smile on his face. I'm the man who will remind the world what heroes really are, and show them that the heroes they have been cheering for all these years were mere imposters. Imposters who have plagued the hero world. You bunch are but another mafia gang, hating heroes because they are heroes and doing everything for money, not justice. I'm not just some thug, and frankly, I feel insulted that you thought of me this way, Stain answered. Izuku's smile dropped. We are more than just a gang of common thugs, Stain. We fight for the same reason as you, for a better world. Heroes are currently what's wrong with this world, so with you working with us, we have a fighting chance to stop them, Izuku exclaimed. Suddenly, a throwing knife came flying towards Izuku, who dodged it swiftly as it split the dartboard behind him in half. You want to know the real reason why I won't join you guys? You lack conviction. Sure, you may claim to want to defeat the heroes, but I bet the second that you lose to one, you'll quit the job. Conviction is what gets everything done in this world. Without it, people just wither away and die. Defeat the heroes? Create a better world? You'd have better things to do in that case other than rent limousines and drink fancy drinks. Now good day, sir, Stain said menacingly, trying to push the no-moves out of the way. Izuku stood silently, as rage quelled up inside of him. He expected Stain to throw everything at him, but no one doubts his conviction. Stain didn't know this. He was unaware of Izuku's sheer determination and drive to never give up. Suddenly, as Kurogiri warped back inside, he had noticed Izuku's rage-filled aura, reminiscent of Shigaraki. You wanted to talk about conviction? Asked Izuku. Suddenly, Stain felt the murderous aura wrap around Izuku. Reaching for his knife, he was ready and on the attack. Suddenly, his eyes widened with shock along with Kurogiri's, as blood splattered onto the counter. Izuku had just cut off his own arm. Take this as proof that I would do anything to accomplish my goal, Izuku said, not even taking notice of the fact that he was missing an arm. Young master, what have you done? Quickly, I must stop the bleeding. Kurogiri yelled like a panicking father as he quickly reached for the first aid kit under the counter. I don't know much about conviction, Stain, but I want to let you know that I will stop at nothing to get what I want, Izuku said with a hint of anger, unchanged by the amount of pain he was hiding. I can cut off my other arm too if you want. Whatever it takes to prove to you that I'm not joking around about this. Stain stood speechless. He wasn't even the one Izuku cut, yet he felt as if he was just impaled 1,000 times. Never had he seen such conviction and determination, coming from the same kid he fought a year ago, no less. Suddenly, laughter was heard coming from the hero killer, followed by clapping. I like it, kid, I must admit. I wasn't expecting such conviction coming from you, Stain laughed. I misjudged you. You were way more serious than I thought. Perhaps I could stick around for a bit. Then welcome aboard, hero killer, Izuku answered, reaching out for a handshake. Glad to be of service, replied Stain, shaking his hand. I should get going now. As the hero killer left the building, Izuku grabbed his severed arm. Kurogiri, he called out to the panicked bartender. Warp me to Sensei. I need to get this arm reattached. Right away, young master, he replied, opening the portal. The break was over, and everyone was back to class. Izuku walked into class, where the students were chatting about how they were seen on their way to school. Apparently, many people had congratulated each of them for their hard work at the sports festival. He didn't mind much, but he still chatted with a few of his classmates. He wanted to be invested, but all he could think of was the next big plan, recapturing Shigaraki. According to the intel group, they have confirmed that Shigaraki was hiding somewhere in Hosu City, where Stain just so happens to currently operate. The plan is to have Stain stun the man by licking his blood so that they can bring the body back. The tricky part was to find a way to smoke them out. Just then, Izuku started talking. Today, you'll be coming up with your hero aliases, Izuku announced. The class, who were initially panicking towards the upcoming exams, cheered the news. In the meantime, concerning the pro heroes draft picks I mentioned the other day, it's based on who the pros think will be able to join the workforce after just 2 or 3 years of experience. So one could say it's their way to show interest in your future, Izuku continued. Izuku, not paying attention to anything he had originally said, suddenly remembered what he had read on the school plans. The hero internship was starting soon. He cursed lightly, knowing that would mean that there was now a possibility for heroes to intervene in their work. This forced him deeper into concentration, now having to figure out how to cover up the fact that he wasn't with this pro hero. Here are the complete draft pick numbers Izuku presented on the board. The green-haired boy only caught a glimpse at the board, yet he was still blown away. He had over 3,000 picks, while Todoroki had over 4,000. Normally, the numbers would be more spread out, but it seems as though the majority of the spotlight was stolen by 2 students, Izuku said. Wow, number 1 over there didn't even get on the board, commented Mineta. Shut up, you fuck, Katsuki yelled from the back. He only won by default, and had to be chained to the podium. It's no wonder no one would have selected him, said Sero. Meanwhile, with Izuku, his plan was finally coming together. The number of heroes that picked him was just what he needed for him to formulate the perfect plan to capture Shigaraki. With the amount of heroes he could pick from, he could easily cover up their murder by pinning it on Stain. Plus, he could also claim that his hero also pursued Shigaraki since he's also on the wanted list. While Izuku went back to mutter mode, all the other students were already picking their hero aliases. From cute and clever names like Uravity or Froppy to cool names like Red Riot, or even plain stupid names like I Can't Stop Twinkling. It seemed as though the students that once knew they had long strides to take before becoming real heroes dropped all modesty, like a teenager already choosing their first baby's names without the confirmation that she would even have a first baby. Little did Izuku know, a similar conversation was unfolding back at the hideouts. Has anyone noticed that a few of us here have no villain aliases? Asked Mustard. Now that you mention it, yeah. Our newer recruits like Sachi, Jack, and Young don't have any nicknames, nor do Dabi and Toga, responded Mr. Compress. Dabi overheard their conversation, and walked to their table. And why should we have an alias, may I ask? Asked Dabi. Spinner, upon hearing this, picked up Dabi by the shoulder and shook him around. Listen, Dabi, an alias is one of the fundamental steps of being a villain. No alias, no one's gonna take you seriously, Spinner called out. Not to mention, it's way better when people cry, "Run, run, it's Dollmaster," rather than "Run, run, it's Irina," Irina cut in, dropping into the conversation. I don't know, sounds pretty stupid, Dabi responded. Hey, if aliases are stupid, why does Stain have one then? Spinner called out, clearly offended by Dabi's remark. The stitched-up man tilted his head in confusion. Stain has an alias? The room went silent. What? Stain wasn't his real name? Dabi asked, causing the room to burst out into laughter. Ha! You're right, you know, Dabi, a real riot, Toga laughed. Hey, it's not like you knew either, Dabi replied, annoyed. Of course I knew. Everyone here knows that Stain isn't his real name, you dumbass. What's his last name then? Carpet? Spinner laughed, not even regretting the fact that he unintentionally insulted his idol. Hey, I know. Toga snapped her fingers. Let's make our own aliases. Everyone besides Dabi agreed, and most of the mentioned non-alias members dropped in. I'll start, Sachi called out, striking a pose. Death Spike. Sinister. I love it, Irina replied. Killer Cutie, Toga called out with enthusiasm afterwards. The Huntress, Young called out, also winning some applause. Hannibal, Jack grunted, referring to his favorite novel and movie, Silence of the Lambs. Eventually even Dabi got into it. The Wicker Man, he answered. It seemed as though with the festive and cheerful spirit of his subordinates, Izuku felt good vibes as it was his turn to present his alias. He held up his board, revealing it to the classroom. I really wish Toga isn't here for this, the thought as he revealed his nickname. Small Knight. 愛してる